All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Support webinar. Today's date is December 9th, 2019. This is a Monday night webinar, and the title of tonight's webinar is Trading Oil and Gold at the Open. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk, therefore there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar, other webinars we have, our live trading room, or anything else with Viper Trading Systems should ever be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? If not, we'll go ahead and get started. That takes a whole minute to say that, by the way. All right, let's go ahead and show some charts. Now, basically, the webinar tonight is supposed to be about trading oil and gold at the open, but I want to first, because we know what the trades were at the open, but I want everybody to see if they could diagnose a chart, okay? Because diagnosing a chart is the only way that you're going to trade correctly, okay? And if you're going against the trend and, trying to get in and out and different things like that, and you lose on some trades, you're just not going to be making as good of a trader. For instance, on this chart right here, what is the overall direction of it? It's down, right? Okay. Now on this side, you don't really know, because look at this. You've got a lightning 3 with a higher low. So yeah, this is sideways to down. This is actually down because it took out support pretty good. So it's definitely, sideways to down. And, where's resistance on the chart? Anybody? So when you draw on your charts, be sure and draw those resistance lines, right? And you've got, now, if this was to decide to go back up, they'd pretty much have to take out this swing, wouldn't they? Because, for instance, if they were to hit their head here and roll, that's what we'd be looking for a short. If they were to come up a little higher and then start heading up, we might be looking for some longs. But, the whole thing is that you've got to diagnose your chart and see it, in real time so that you can actually trade it. Let's see, JLG says, can we look at oil in great detail from 5:58 a.m. forward till 6:35 a.m.? Sure. We're going to do that in just a little while. I won't take that long on this part of it, but I want to see if everybody can see what I'm talking about here, okay? Let's go ahead and draw now lightning 1 or 2, either one. I'll draw lightning 1 on this one. All right. And I'll draw lightning 1 on this one too, to be fair. Okay. Now, let me ask you a quick question. Could you be ready to take this trade if, for instance, it kissed this 59 and rolled over? Maybe it'll kiss it twice, who knows? But could you be ready to take this trade even without putting bars on the chart? Because I'll bet we can. Yeah, you'd be looking for a short. What about this one here? You've got a high, low, lower high, lower low, but they're taking out that high right there, like this, a little bit. My lightning went away. Bear with me a second. All right. So if this was to decide to break up, I'm looking at this chart and I would say, you know what, with just what we got right now, I'd be looking for a break above 610, or if it does decide to roll over, but with this higher low, that concerns me a little bit because it seems like they're trying to step up, and power meter 3 is even green. You see what I mean? This power meter is red. So, if you were looking at this chart right here, matter of fact, more than likely, you could actually go ahead and probably box it in, wouldn't you think? Okay, let's see here. We definitely have resistance also at 98. This is a lot of noise over here, but, looking at lightning 3, just always look to the left to trade the right. And I would probably put a line right here at 98 also, like so. And if they come up anywhere into this little sweet spot and roll, I'd be looking for a short. This one here if they happen to keep stair-stepping up, we might even be looking for a long. We'll have to see, right? But could we actually get ready to box it in just in case? You know, for instance, without even prices on this chart, could I actually go ahead and do something like this and say, you know what? If this breaks up above here, I'll go long. And let's see here. Thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace. It would have to at least break this swing right here for me to go short on this. Everybody see why on that? Because that's your lightning swing to the left. That way you don't get wicked into something. Okay, so let's see if we can get something on either way. All right, and we'll just go a couple. All right. Now, can you see what we're looking at right here, though? We're basically looking at, you know, higher low right here. Our lightning one is actually also stair-stepping up. You know, where is the price right now? Well, we don't know because, see, lightning is actually, you know, we're not seeing the prices on the chart, in other words. You see what I mean? Oh, Stephen, I'll explain that too on what the power meters are. The power meters are really simple. They're actually lightning 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? Like right now, for instance, see, you have a low, a high, a higher low, and it took out this lightning over here to the left. See it? So this has actually changed that to power meter 3 being green. Now this one so far is still red. And by the way, we could box this one in too if you want. Now, like I say, we can't see the price on here. So, you know, we're going to have to kind of play it by ear because, you know, for instance, lightning draws. Well, look here. This is getting ready to go. Let's see. Let's do a touch plus. Hopefully we're not already out of that. We'll see. All right. So if this does touch plus 2, we'll go long, and only if it takes out the swing on the left will we go short, because we're getting a higher low. We're trying to take out resistance. Okay. And then this one here, we'll go ahead and do a little region like so. Why that does that? All right. And then we're going to take a short. Okay. And if this was to decide to break up, let's just say that if this was to break up above here and decide to go on up, we could go ahead and just box it, you know, like we teach. Let's just see which one of them works. All right, so I'll do it this way. Same thing on here and 2. And let's see what they do. Okay, we're long on that one. See it? Look to the left to trade the right. Got resistance right up here at 67.90 on the left. I'd probably at least put one contract there. Let's see if we can get something here. Okay. Well, keep in mind, Mindy, on your question here, this is actually what I see when I'm actually drawing on my charts and everything. You know, I'm seeing these swings and all that. So basically, well, the CL region, keep in mind, we're looking at resistance right here. See, we got resistance at 59. Now, if they were to take out 59 and head up, we'll go ahead and take a long. Okay. But if they, because technically, see, we don't have a higher low though. It's like a double bottom. So we'll see what happens here. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do here is as soon as we get lightning forming, we'll go ahead and readjust our box. You see what I mean? So in other words, right now, we're looking at lightning very possibly being here. See where support is right there? Okay. You see what I'm doing here? What I'm doing is I'm going to go long if it goes above this, and I'm going to go short if it goes below support right here. Okay. And let's see which one of them pans out. We're up 20 bucks. Well, we're short. So see, lightning must be all the way down here because see, we're short. So the price must be underneath this box. You see what I mean? I'm playing with lightning, and keep in mind that you can't see lightning unless it actually does the zigzag. So the price is actually down in here somewhere. It has to be. You see what I'm doing? So it had to have broken that box with a touch plus 2. Okay? So let's see. Look to the left to trade the right. Let's see where this one's going. All right, we got 58.70. I'll go ahead and get this out of the way, and we'll try to get down to 58.70 like that, right? Okay. Now keep in mind, see, this is showing up here, but the price is really down here. It's actually just not stair-stepping yet so that lightning's drawing. See what I mean? But all I did on this was actually trade according to what I was seeing with my swings. Okay? And evidently we're up a little bit. See there? We're up $80 anyway. That's not too bad. And let's see. There we go. See how lightning's starting to draw here? So we could go ahead and tighten our stop. Like so. All right. We're still up 80. Yeah, now my stop here, keep in mind that this is already down in here. It has to be because it has to be breaking this box with price. Okay, so we could definitely put our stop just above that 59 right there. That's still 10 ticks though. Okay, but let's see what happens. And by the way, if you ever want to ride a trade for the gusto, just put your stop just underneath the previous swing and let your targets just go if you want to. Okay, but keep in mind that you're going to have to get out though if it breaks your lightning swing. Okay, let's see what we're at. We're only up $20, so this may work, may not. We'll find out. We're down 60. We're down 40. We're up 20. We're down. Oh, wow, look at that. 180 for a second. Wonder what that was. Short 2 and long 2. Let's see what we get here. And it's starting to get profitable again. Got our stop in right here at the support area. I'd put exit on close on it. Right across that area there. Okay. See, now we're up 260. Well, 200. Notice that I've got my stop in, so I can't get hurt on this. Look at that. So you're just simply trading with the trend. This looks to me like it's going to kiss on top of this right here. See it? This swing right here. Because if we're going to head up, we can't take this swing out because that's an identified lightning swing, right? So in other words, if this was to head down any further, then it's not going to be heading up anymore. See, but we're looking at something that's drawing as it's stair-stepping, and you won't get this lightning drawing again until it actually starts stair-stepping back to the upside. We're drawing lightning 1, by the way. Okay, let's see what it does. I'll speed this up a little bit. And then we're going to go to the open, and we're going to try the same thing. Look at that. Put your stop just right underneath there. Exit on close. Now let me ask you a question. If you were trading like this on 2 charts, would that be enough and you could just hit close for the day? You could, couldn't you? So let's put our stop there. And by the way, we'd probably go ahead and take 1 off, just simply because you might want to protect some coins. So just sell 1, that's fine. And then just ride your runner. Everybody see how I did that? This is exactly what we draw on those charts in that room in real time. Okay? It's exactly what we draw in that room in real time. Now, I would personally put my stop just underneath this swing right here. See it? And now, of course, you'd definitely move your stop on this one. Where'd it go? Should have my stop somewhere. Where'd it go? It's on that line. There we go. Swing is right there. Okay. Reason I wanted to show you this little exercise here is because this is exactly what I see when I'm drawing on these charts in that room. Okay, I'm seeing these swings that I'm drawing on this chart. Now, keep in mind that if you put them so tight, like at a quick swing like this, see how it'll even test this one here? You know, you could always put your stop at more like the thrust, retrace, thrust, which would be right there. Okay. Now, if it gets us, it gets us, but that may be too tight still. We'll see. Okay, we'd go ahead and bring our stop up on this one. Move our target out of the way. May get us, may get us. It's double bottoming. Didn't get us. All right, that one did right there. That's fine. See, we're out. Okay, now you notice that we had like 800 bucks, but keep in mind we're trading this without price bars on this chart. Okay, what I'm trying to show you here is even trading without price bars on that chart, that you can still do A-OK on your trading. It really does work. You know, this is an excellent way to trade. Okay, now let's actually put the prices on the chart and see if we can trade it even better than that. Okay, let's go ahead and do it. Right click, we'll go to template, load object trader, and this one will do the same thing, although we're still in a trade. Look at that, look at that. That's actually a don't you think that's a trade setting up there, everyone? What do you think? I would say it is, so let's go ahead and box it. All right, mid-band long, right? Definitely mid-band long. Will our stop get taken on this one? We'll find out. Okay, let's do this one also. Kill it. Let's go to the template, and let's do the same thing on this one. Let's see where it's actually at. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So see, even without the lightning on the chart, now with this right here, we can definitely see what's going on, right? Okay, so could we box this in? Where's our resistance? Anybody? It's right there. You got resistance over here to the left also, right there. Okay. We got this one set up to go. We got this one set up to go. So we're going to do a region, and that's good for the box right there. See the little swing? And if it actually hits mid-band, I'll go ahead and do a short inside touch plus 2. And we'll do 2 with it. All right, now we're not going short on this side. Why wouldn't we? Anybody? Because it's an uptrend. Okay, it's definitely an uptrend. So you want to be careful going against the trend. All right, now we did that with that lightning to begin with, but see, I felt a little bit of heat though. Did you notice it went to about, wasn't it 180 or something like that? But keep in mind that was with just swings on the chart. And remember, those swings don't draw in real time. They have to zigzag to draw. even the smaller one still got to zigzag to draw. Okay. Speed this up a little bit. This was the perfect short up here, but we missed that one. Resistance right over here to the left. Tighten it up a little bit more. Okay, we got that one. Put our stop nice and tight. Got that one. How about that? Not a bad way to trade, is it, everyone? Definitely not a bad way to trade. Now, real quick, I'm going to slow this down a little bit. Where would you put your stop on this gold? Anybody? Yeah, actually, JLG, on your question, we would have had, matter of fact, I traded this CL this morning. Remember I had mentioned that I got this trade right over here. See where it did a little thrust down, retrace thrust, double bottom? That was a perfect little area. Yeah, this was simply because I changed the chart from lightning to the real chart, and this is the price. So we really didn't have any choice but going in here because it had already done this. But that happens even when you get up in the morning, doesn't it? So for instance, if I was trading this first thing in the morning and I missed this, I would take this, but I'd put a pretty tight stop on it, just right above that line too, risking 6 ticks on it. Let's see what the other one's doing. Oh, look at that. Where would you put your stop? Anybody on this gold? What do you think? Well, right underneath lightning. How about that? Box it in, draw a trend line. If it breaks that trend line, you could get out of the trade by just simply turning on wedge instead. If it doesn't continue up above that, that would be a way to scale out of it. You've just got one left. Everybody see that? It's just definitely not a bad way to trade, okay? And we can fast forward this chart to anywhere you want, and you should be able to pick out the trend. This one over here, what did we look at the time? We had this swing here. It had already taken out this swing here. So was this actually heading up when it took out 66.10? It did, but you wanted the trade right down in here because you got to get that thrust to pull back. You remember where we got this one just a few minutes ago? Yeah. And by the way, CL, does anybody remember what CL actually did in the room this morning? We actually got a little quick short, and let's go over another thing that you're going to be looking for, okay? Because it's really important to know when you get, for instance, like let's say that you get a higher low like we did in the room this morning, could you be ready to not only get out of the trade, okay, but let's look at this chart, because I called this trade in the room this morning, and how did we know it was actually happening? Okay, well, basically, if you look at this side of the chart right here, that's your lightning 3 swing right there at 67, right? So if they were to actually pop up above, the mid band, for instance, this looks like still a good trade though, isn't it, so far? Okay, tighten our stop. And let's look to the left to trade the right. Got a swing right here at 30 on the left. And you got a swing right here at 49, which they've already taken out. Okay. And you could just keep moving this out of the way because you just got one contract left. Okay. But now keep in mind that anytime you're trading, you have to also realize that you've got to know where this is going to change trends to. Okay. When you look at any chart that you're trading, you got to say, okay, if this was to change directions, where would it change directions? How do we activate the wedge trade? It's not a hotkey, John, at all. It's actually what you do on a wedge type trade. Just to give an example, let's say, just for the fun of it, let's just see. I'll put this out of the way, and let's just draw a wedge across here, like so. And if it breaks it to the upside, we'll simply change directions on it. Touch +2, reverse. How's that? If it breaks that trend line, that is. That would be a wedge right there. All you have to do is, oh, sorry, that's a wedge, sorry. That's a wedge. Okay, so this is a wedge right here, and you're just drawing a Ninja Trader ray, that little line right there. Okay. Now, remember in the room this morning, this trade was actually called in real time, if I remember. Let's see, we opened it. Now, this one might not have been because it came up a little bit more and then rolled through it. Okay. But does everybody see when you're looking at your charts where it would change directions if it did decide to change directions? Because you've always got to realize that, you know, they head down and then they head up. And if you remember right in the room this morning, there was a trade called right through here that was actually a long trade. Anybody remember that? Because that's what they do, is they're continually playing their little games, you know, doing their little thrust retrace. And you've got to see where's Lightning 3. Okay. Lightning 3 is right there at 58.66, right? 58.66. That's Lightning 3. So if they were to take that out, then more than likely they're not heading down anymore. And you've got to be ready for whatever they do when you're trading, okay? Because they don't necessarily just go down forever. Okay? Now, what I like to personally do when I'm up this nicely on a chart is I'll turn this little puppy on right here, the power meter, and rather than this wedge, we'll go ahead and just get out on power meter. And if it happens to turn green, you just get out of the trade, okay? Which means it would start stair-stepping up, okay? Now, you could also use this trend line to get out of a trade if you wanted to also by simply doing, you know, we're short with 2. Okay, if we wanted to go ahead and totally get out of those 2, or at least one of them, we could simply turn on like touch +2 and get out of it that way. Because that would simply be, if it touched that line +2, that would no longer be heading down. We wouldn't be heading up yet, though. Okay? Now, somebody was asking just a little while ago, let's see, took that trade this morning, double bottom, yep. Let's see. This is what happened to me this morning, okay. Trying to find where somebody says, okay, taking trade is not a problem, is where do you say to get out with loss? That is the biggest problem. Well, keep in mind that, Neil, on your question, and that's a good one, by the way, you can actually use really tight stops. You can use a little bit looser stops. You know, for instance, right here, okay, if this was to start breaking like above this line right here, could you actually get out of the trade? And you could, right? See, we've already gotten a scalp. Okay, we could simply put our stop just right above this little, see how lightning is trying to form right here? It's trying to form right there. Okay, so you could bring your stop right down to there with lightning. But keep in mind, they're going to take you in and out a lot. Okay, that is a very, very, very tight stop. Okay, because here's where I see resistance right here. Now, if it holds this, this is good resistance too, but they haven't tested this right here. But they don't necessarily have to either. Okay, and you can definitely put your stop nice and tight if you want to. See how that's just tried to get us? We put it just above the swing. I usually like to use exit on close. Okay. Remember that little trade this morning? We have lightning turned on to get out of the trade if it goes green. Not green yet. It's going to go green if it takes out that little wicked candle. There you go. Just got, let's see, PM1 took, let's see, did I? We'll leave our stop right there. Now, let's go over this real quick because this trade, see this right here? This is the one I called this morning in the room, was right out of that box. Everybody remember that? Now let's diagnose this chart in real time like we did. All right, if you look to the left to trade the right, you've got resistance right there. Okay, which they're kind of taking out right now, aren't they? Okay, and they're taking it out a little bit more. Okay, now where do you think though that more than likely if they decided to take this up, why was there a trade called literally at mid-band after we got the thrust and the pullback? Now remember, we even got this one also, remember, because I had a box drawn, but it did come back and test support. Does anybody remember that this morning? We had a box drawn right here. Matter of fact, it was right across there like that. That's the way it was drawn in the room this morning. But by everything we teach, don't you think that more than likely when they thrust up, they're going to pull back and kiss that support right there? So could you as a trader be ready for it? And you could, right? Because what happens lots and lots of times when they start changing trend directions is that they will thrust up, they'll take out a lightning type swing, which they did over here to the left. Okay, and this was right at 8:10 in the morning right here. Now, does anybody remember what we actually did on this trade? We actually started boxing in our region. Like so. Touch +2, not quite in just yet. If it goes 2 ticks above, we will be, and we'll put our stop right there. We're in. Move one out of the way. Look to the left to trade the right. Where's resistance at? Well, you got resistance right there. We got resistance right there. Looking to the left to trade the right also. And we nailed this trade this morning, remember? Now, also called it out in 2 trades too, if you wanted to do it that way, because we actually had it boxed down here instead of at mid-band. Remember when it broke this right here? So when it came back under that, we went ahead and got out, and then we got back in. Okay. Now, if you're up pretty nicely like that right there, to give an example, you don't have to take that out unless it takes out the actual swing like that. Okay. That would be the swing right there that, you know, basically all they did is they thrust up and they tested it. And if you remember right, this little trade went like a house of fire. Okay. But it was also called in real time. Now, let's diagnose this, because in the trading room, I'm calling trades, and so's Charles, you know, when he's in there. Well, keep in mind, George, here's another thing that we do also in the Viper trading room. Okay. We don't necessarily just go with the colors of the background at the open. If you do, you'll miss out on some great trades. Okay. Because look at this little box right here. See this little box? That's the 8 o'clock box. It went up. It pulled back into it. Okay. Remember this one? This one got me short right here. and then it stopped us out. That was the only trade that I called wrong on oil this morning. All right, now would you put your stop right there as soon as it takes out the lightning? Sure, like that. Okay. Now, of course, by now you could have taken one off the table too. The pit open, yes, George, that's the pit open of oil, is that white box right there. Okay. Normal stop, Terrence, on your question, we basically like to use lightning. Now, when I'm first in a trade and I'm up pretty nicely, I'm going to give this a liberal stop right now. Okay. Because this is the swing, thrust, retrace, thrust. It hadn't taken out this swing yet. So I got to be a little bit more liberal to try to get a bigger run. Now, if this is my first trade, like it was this morning, in the room, that is, when I called the trade, we did get short when it took out this support, and then they quickly bipped it in our face, so we got out of it. Okay. And then we got a long, 10 ticks, and then we got this long. And by the way, this one ran. Okay. Now, what I want to show you also, though, is how to get out of this trade once you get nicely in the green and profit. Okay. Because what you do is you just simply put it under the swings that they identify. Okay. Now, see, that's an identified swing now. See it right there? High, low, higher, high. That's identified. And this turned out, by the way, to be a monster trade. Okay. And it was called live in real time in the room this morning too. So don't be biased on the particular trade that you're getting ready to take, because if you are, what happens is they'll run this silly thing down all night long, then we'll open the room and they'll change directions. So you can't wait for the green background, not at the open of the market. And by the way, you can even move your targets out of the way and just keep your stop in. For instance, let's say like line 6. What if you wanted to stay in regardless with this swing, but if they took out line 6, we wanted to get out of one of our contracts? You can do that also just by simply bringing this up here, turning on touch +2, and if it goes inside that little region right there with the inside, you would get out of one. Okay. Well, avoiding phantoms at the open, Trifone, is your question. Well, keep in mind that when this started breaking up, it was breaking lightning 3. It was breaking the swing to the left. Let me just draw this, because this is how I diagnosed this morning, and it was right. Okay, let's get rid of the lines. You have a thrust retrace, so let's draw this. Basically, you had a thrust down, right? You had a retrace with a lower high. You had another thrust down. And, whoops, sorry. I'm going to just draw this manually because I don't know if it'll draw exactly like I want it, but this is what I'm seeing in real time in the room. See how that's stair-stepping down, stair-stepping down? Then let's go back up here. And then it dropped drastically, right? Okay. So when is this changing trends? When it takes out that swing, you're changing trends. But you're not getting in the trade on a breakout unless you take quick coin. This trade was called in the room this morning. Remember, we had this boxed in. So that was a 10-tick trade, but then it was right back in your face. Okay. And the way you can do that is just look to the left to trade the right. Then this did what? Thrust up, retrace, higher low, and then it started breaking right here. So could you actually have been long on this trade, looking to the left to trade the right across that area right there, or even a little bit lower if you wanted to, but we just boxed it in right there, see where we got filled? That's exactly how that trade was called in the room this morning. And by the way, you can put your region like so underneath here and take this off the table if it happens to, let's see, put a region in, and we'll take 1 off if it happens to take out that little swing right there. Okay? That's literally the way you trade this. I mean, you can do quite well on your trades if you'll just trade just like what I'm teaching right here. Okay? Now, I would go ahead and put my stop also, probably just under line 6, but I'll take 1 off if it even takes out that swing. Everybody see the swing? You just draw lightning if you don't see it. See there? That's a lightning identified swing. Now, will this continue to go up? Well, it looks like it. You remember where we actually had our stop in the room this morning? I drew a line on it. When I draw those lines in the room like this right here, that's what I expect to hold. Okay? The yellow box is the opening of the regular market. That's all that was. Okay? So when we come in the room first thing in the morning, what we're looking at is just what the price action's doing. You know, I'm not as concerned about the color of this or anything else, because you got to be careful. If you're starting to see this left side of the chart taken out, and then they get higher lows and everything and take off, you got to be ready to trade long before it thrusts up and pulls back into mid-band. You know, because this turned out to be quite a trade. As a matter of fact, you put your stop right there now. Everybody see that? Lightning swing. That's absolutely the way to trade this. Okay, let's see, pencil and then stay in mode. Then you do not need to grab. Oh, I see what you mean. I know that does that, but truthfully, I like doing it. I've just done it this way forever. Okay. Now, if you were in just one, where would you put your stop on this? Anybody? How about right there underneath that swing? That's a higher low again. Maybe, maybe not. We'll find out. Exit on close. And by the way, if you weren't in this trade just yet, could you actually get ready? Matter of fact, somebody asked this morning even, could you actually box this in and very possibly add one? Well, we already missed it. Well, actually, I guess we didn't because it was touch plus 2. And I'd still put my stop just under the swing. That's definitely a good way to trade this. Okay, and just keep your stop underneath the swing. You know, and if you added one and you get up nicely, you can always take 1 off if it happens to even try to go back below that support. See that support right there? You know, if it happens to go below it, like it's trying, it didn't. See there? You can put your, to scale 1 out, just right there. If it happens to come down below that, you could always take 1 off. Let's see if it bounces. And by the way, you can even put it like this. And if they happen to touch that plus 2, you could take 1 off. Looks like they touched it plus 2. We're out of 1. See there? It's that easy to trade this. And if everybody remembers this morning, this trade was called too. Right out of that box, we got a quick little popper. It came back in the box. We got out, and we got back in it when it took out the top of the box again. Now, like I say, if you're up nicely already for the morning, you could always use, for instance, let's say that you were watching this right here. You said, okay, this thrust up, it's taking out my swing to the left. It's even taking this one out over here a little bit. So they're trying to head up, right? So if you box this right here and you were up really nicely, you could go ahead and put your stop just underneath the box. Now, when we first get in that room, we like it to where you don't have to put that much on the table because that might be your first trade of the day. So with that box drawn, we got in it, we got out, and we got back in. Okay? And that's the beauty of using regions on Object Trader 2. I would put my stop, my actual stop now. Well, that's still going. We're okay. If it takes out the bottom of that box, I would probably see how it's trying to top out a little bit. If it pops it, this will be your lightning anyway. And if it gets it, it gets it. No big deal to me. Is it going to get us? Not yet. Still in. Okay, we'll put our, now that it's wicked it, we'll put it right down there instead and ride your runner. Now I wouldn't go adding up here though. That's quite a trip up there. Okay. Now, does everybody see that this is exactly how we traded this morning? Because right now, obviously, I even remember what I called and everything. So this is more going over how to do it with the teaching of it. Okay. But in the room, this was actually called. Matter of fact, we had a line drawn right there where resistance was, and literally had the box like that. Remember? So if a person wanted that, you got a nice little pop, pull back into the box. You could have gotten out. If you were up nicely, you could hold it with your stop right down there at the swing, and you got a nice little monster trade. But that's exactly how you trade this system. Okay? It's exactly how you do it. Now, what if you weren't in anything at all so far? What would you do on this chart? Okay, let's say that you just got up, you got your coffee, and go, oh my gosh, it's already run. Gary called it way down here. What do I do now? Well, you got to wait for a retracement. You got to at least get these little pullbacks and box it in, little pullbacks and box it in. You know, and the higher you get, the less likely it's going to work. Okay, stops in right there at lightning 1. Could you pull it back 1? Sure. Pull it back to there like that instead. And see, you can actually get out of this trade if it happens just take that swing out with a touch +2. What if it decides to go on up? Well, move your target. Now where would you put your stop? Well, it looks to me like it's trying to hold this little swing here and this one here. Okay? And if you're in one, keep in mind you could just do this. See, this is trying. See if it takes it. Kind of double topping a little bit, right? Let's see, would it be good to wait in those situations like here to wait for a mid-band trade if you got up late? Yes, Sebastian, on your question, would absolutely be the right thing to do, would be to wait. Okay? Now, let's look and see if you can get the exact trade that was also called. And you've got to wait, just like Charles taught. I heard him on Saturday's webinar because I always check him out, you know, make sure that, you know, the webinar video is good and all that kind of stuff. And I watch a lot of his webinars. I don't know if he watches mine or not, but I watch his. And this particular way that we trade, you've got to just get in the habit of, you know, these little boxes and everything, because otherwise they're just going to eat you up in these markets. Okay. Could we put our stop right there? Well, when I have one that close to the next swing down, I usually go ahead and put it just under the swing, especially if I'm only in my runner. Now, keep in mind, my stop doesn't even count, because if this takes out this region, it'll kill this contract. Okay? Now, let me go forward. Sorry about that. Linda will get that. Let's go forward and see what this actually did. I'll just fast forward a little bit. That was close. See how it tested that swing exactly? Now, I'd probably put my stop just underneath, inside here or here, because I'm not going to go that low again, because they tried to check it, and I'm not going to let them do it twice. Okay? And you could actually put your stop just inside if they happen to take out 59.05. Anytime they shotgun like that, you got to start protecting coin. Okay, but let's pretend that you didn't get anything, and I'm going to fast forward this a little bit, and you tell me where you get in this trade. if you boxed it right here where it bounced, would you have a little scalp? Possibly, very possibly. Matter of fact, I think we even called that. But one thing I want to teach you also tonight, always keep in mind that when you're retracing, for instance, like this little trade here, this was a good little trade, but if you took it right here where my bottom of my box is, which we just missed it, then you're already up those few ticks, but it's too late now. Okay, it's too late. Now, if this does a little thrust, retrace, and breaks this support here, I would expect it to do a phantom trade. Okay. And if you don't want to trade something until it actually starts stair-stepping, see, like, let me show you here. Okay, like this is stair-stepping a little bit right here. See the high, the low, the lower high? If it takes this out, you're still looking for what type of trade? Anybody? You're looking for a phantom trade. All right, so let's draw on our chart. It's not going that low because it'd have to take out that swing. So we'll put our swing right there. And we're going to only take this if it starts stair-stepping back to the upside. Now, could you actually short this? Yes. Okay. But if you're in the habit of not doing it, now at the open, I'll do it in a heartbeat. When they've run, I usually like to let them retrace and then try to get the next trade. If you were to short it, I would probably short it like right now and try to get, let's just say if we could get 10 ticks. You could do something like that. Okay. But I don't like personally shorting this right here, simply because they're more than likely just checking support and they're probably going to head up. If you did this trade right here, I would definitely put my stop like right there. And even then you'd be giving up 70 bucks. That's not my idea of a trade yet. I do, however, want to see it come down and check like support over here on the left. See that little support there? And you've got support right here, like so. And if it comes down anywhere in this little sweet spot and gives a higher low even, I would take it long. Okay? And we actually called this trade down in here. Does anybody remember that? This actually turned out to be a phantom trade. If I remember right, let me see. Yeah, I definitely see it. Kissed that line almost to the tick. Actually, even a tick above it. See it? That's where we had the line drawn in the room this morning. Now, if you missed this trade, unfortunately, you just missed it. So I'd have to wait for it to come back and give me some kind of a retrace first. Okay? But see how if you draw on your charts, could you have been ready to take this trade right here? We boxed this in the room this morning, just right there, just like that. Could that have been a nice little trade? The answer is yes. If it comes back in the box, you get out of the trade. Okay? Let's see if we got another chance on that. I don't remember if we did or not. Maybe. No? Maybe? Nope. Nope, didn't give us another one. There, here we go. Maybe. Now, truthfully, on this one right here with these higher lows right here, I would probably box it like that, long outside, and I'd probably box it like right in here if it happens to bounce with like a higher low. Like, let's see, looking to the left, trade the right. Let's try to give it just one tick and see if we can get it. I'm not going to go with multiples. We'll just go with one. And we need to change this to inside. Now, if it craters through this, we're not going to be looking for longs, right? That's support. Draw it a little bit tighter. A little bit tighter. See what I'm doing? I'm just boxing in where lightning will be if it starts heading the other way. And we got it. If it takes out the lightning, we'll add one. and put your stop just right underneath the swing. Just like that. Okay? You could draw a trend line on it too, absolutely. Somebody said, well, draw a trend line on it. You could draw a trend line like right across there. That's not a trend line, by the way. The trend line's the ray. And we haven't added one just yet. That was giving us a little heat, not much. It's still green here. So you can always watch your particular trade too. If this goes red, see it's white right now. That means you have no profit in it. Now it's green. Now it's green again. It's going to go red, it looks like to me. Support's right there at 78. We're in at 83, so that's actually 83 to 78. It's only 5 ticks. Okay, so we'd be willing to do that. Oh, I should have turned that off. I wanted it when it broke up, not off the bottom. Let's see what it does. There's a swing over there to the left, 87. Could you actually add one if it took out 87? Could if you wanted to. See, we're in 3 now. Stop's going to be nice and tight, just right underneath that swing. Takes out that swing there. It's stair-stepping up also. Everybody see how you could box that in and do that? Now, I'd probably take one off here pretty quick. Well, maybe not. Let's just leave it on. We'll take one off only if it takes out that line. See how they check lightning? That's exactly the way to trade this. And every single one of these trades was called in the room this morning. This is personally why I love oil. And I didn't even go over some of the gold trades and everything, but there were some gold trades called also. But for the most part, we nailed this trade right here. We nailed this trade right here. And then pretty soon we closed the room after that. You can put your stop just underneath the swing. Give it a little wiggle room if you got a bunch of profit in the trade. And just ride your runner. Just like that. Okay? Now this is after we close the room now, but did anybody take that trade, by the way, when we actually closed the room this morning with crude oil? Anybody at all? You did? Good. And by the way, just put your stop just nice and tight, just in case, because there's your lightning swing. See how the lightning is right there? This is perfectly the way you can trade this. And by the way, you got a swing over here to the left at 16. And if it takes it, you could always just ride your runner. You got 1 left, or pardon me, 2 left, sorry. And you put your stop just under the swing. So see, when people ask us, for instance, where do you put your stops? Well, where are the swings? Where's lightning 1 and lightning 2 on the swings? What would it take for this to go down instead of up? Anybody? If you looked at this chart, right under here is lightning 3. If they don't take that out, they're not heading down. Wow, that was a good trade. Put your stop just inside. You could put it short inside. Keep moving that up just in case. And ride your runner. You can put it just underneath the swing even. See how it's just barely taking out that high? And we're flat. Okay? Now, if you were trading later on and you were watching these charts, and by the way, this is actually, you hit a nice top at 25, okay? So where would you go long again? Anybody? Where would you go long again? Well, let's look to the left to trade the right and see if we can figure it out. and then we're going to wrap. All right, let's look at this. We got support right here on our lightning 3. All right, we got support here. If you look at this lightning 3 and you look at this swing right here. So anywhere in this little sweet spot right here, looking to the left to trade the right, swing, okay? I'd be looking at this little area right here, at least to check this. Because see, they busted up above it and they've never checked it. So let's see if they'll check that. Now, also keep in mind that you can simply trade this as soon as it decides to start stair-stepping back up, okay? So let's see if we can figure that out. I'll fast forward it. We may be too quick to be able to figure it, but let's see. Okay, that's stair-stepping down, right? Now, could you have gotten that trade right there? I probably wouldn't, because I'm looking for this one here, because it hadn't checked it really. But let's see if we can figure out when it stair-steps back up, if it does stair-step back up. Let's watch it. What's it doing, everyone? Stair-step back up, didn't it? So could you have boxed this right where I said to? And I have my box drawn. We didn't get the trade, but see how I drew my box ahead of time? Because that's where I figured it was going to hit its head. Because I looked to the left to trade the right. Now let's see if we can get an actual one, if we can slow this down enough. Only if it stair-steps. Oh, look at that. It's right at support. All right, so let's look. Resistance over here to the left. Resistance over here to the left, same spot. Well, no, a little bit higher. Let's see if we can get something. Only if it starts stair-stepping up, though. Let's see if we can get something. Has it taken out resistance? Well, that bounced off my line again. So could you have been in that trade again? Yes. Okay. When did it start stair-stepping? Unfortunately, it didn't stair-step on lightning, but could you have boxed that in at mid-band like we teach continually? Like right across there? Would that be a 10-tick trade? Yes. See, and the lines were drawn ahead of time. So it came down a little bit further than our line the first time. You got the trade. Second time, it came right down to my line. Oh, look there. You're getting another chance. See if we can get one more. All right. Lightning 3. Our box is already drawn. So if it goes above mid-band, we're going to take it. Oh, I had the long inside crumb. Well, we'll live with it. Actually, no, we won't either. I'm gonna sell it because I don't want it to tag at the bottom there. I only want it to tag out the top. We're only going to take this trade if it starts, instead of heading down, it starts letting us box it. So let's see if we can get one. That's support. We're boxing. A little 1, 2, 3 reversal, right? Oh, that's the reality of trading. You're right. Absolutely, Brent. I've done that myself. I accidentally, instead of closing out at 310 today on crude oil, I accidentally reversed it. So it cost me $10 on, well, $20 actually, because I had to get, totally close it out. All right, so box it. That's resistance over there to the left. Is this a trend change yet? Anybody? Well, you have a high, low, lower, high, lower, low, so it could change to one. But so far, it's just like a little phantom setting up. We got it boxed. Let's see if it triggered. I'm just curious. Yep, triggered. Stop would be right underneath the swing. And see if we get a stair stepping up. There you go. Bring your stop right under there, like so. And there you go. That's exactly the way you box these and everything. You see that? Okay? That's exactly. Now, like I said, when you're up nicely already, you can use the box. Whoa, look at that thing go. That was close to the end of the day. You can go ahead and give it a little bit more wiggle room. So like I've got the stop basically right in here. If I turn that on, let's turn it on. Short inside. Come on. By touch +2. And if it does it, we'll just get out of the trade. You want to see if it did? I don't know if it did or not. Let's find out. I'll fast forward it. There you go. Support, lightning. Didn't take out that top. That kind of concerns me. If it gets us, it gets us. Didn't yet. You're only in one. Everybody see how you can trade this like this? And keep in mind, if you were to actually go to the webinar type chart and just trade it like that even, and train your mind to see these trades, that may get us. We'll see. It didn't. See there, using lightning. See how they wick them though? There you go, just got your target. And we could have held it, all obviously, because we'd put our stop right under here. Mindy, on your question, well, the one thing that I highly recommend, and it's up to the individual what they want to do, but I would highly recommend if you're not up for the day yet, like for instance, when I called this trade this morning, right here, you know, when we actually opened the room at 7:55 and we got that trade, remember? That's the open of the market right there. We got that trade. See how that didn't go back in the box once it came out of the box? That's a perfect way to trade right there. But if you're up nicely, like let's say that you had been up at, I don't know, 5 o'clock in the morning and maybe you got this trade, you can give it a little bit more wiggle room. But what you don't want to do is be down $300 on your first trade. Okay? Because the best way to trade this is obviously the way we teach and everything. And then, you know, wait for the buying to kick back in. See, like notice here, for instance, it came right down to my box. See, I drew that ahead of time. I looked to the left, trade the right. You figured that it wasn't going to break, thrust, retrace. Okay, so that was support. They came down and kissed it. See there? They're constantly doing this. And what you don't want to do is just be constantly taken out of trades. But, you know, just like the one that was called in the room first thing, though, right here, that trade with just a couple of contracts was a good $400. Okay? And then you could have put a nice tight stop on it, or at least when it started getting these higher lows and starts stair-stepping. Or put it at line 2. Okay? But then remember, we even went long here when it took out that little swing, just like that. See that swing to the left? We went long. That was a 10-tick trade. So there's 400. There's 200. Maybe you got taken out of the last. So let's say you just kept 100 of it. Okay? And then we did get short. They faked us on this one right here. They went, remember, this went in the box right here, and I even said I was going short here, and then they bounced it, so we got out quickly. You got to do that at the open. They will give you some great trades. You just got to trade what they give you. Okay? All right. I hope this helped everyone. Thanks very much for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. And this will be up on the website post haste, about an hour. Okay, let's see. Gene, do you wait for it to close in the box or just when it re-enters? If you wait for the box itself, I like for it to close the bar. But if it actually wicks the top of a box, I don't let it close the whole bar the next one. You see what I'm getting at? In other words, if you wick the box, let's say that you had gone long here, for instance, and it comes back and wicks the box, okay? You can go ahead and stick with a trade like that, but if that bar went up and then they tried to close inside the box the next time, I'd be out. Okay. So like I say, I hope this did help. And, learn to see the lightning on your charts in real time. And it'll be amazing where you'll be able to draw these boxes because, this was drawn ahead of time. You had several good opportunities. Trade here, trade here, trade here. And of course, this one went like a house of fire. Okay. And that's the way you got to trade it. All right. We'll see everybody in the morning. Thanks for coming. And Charles's webinar, by the way, is up for Saturday on the website and also on the regular webinar link. Let's see, Kurt, after the fact, I can see the candle, but in real time, it's difficult trying to see the close of a bar. Well, if you don't see that, Kurt, and I'll go ahead and wrap right after this, let me show you what you'll want to do. I've trained my eye to see which ones. You've got to know where a candle opens and where a candle closes, okay? But if you don't see that as well, just go to this right here and go to open, high, low, close. And then beef it up a little bit so you can see it. See, it's the same thing as a candle, but you'll be able to see it then because they open on the left, close on the right, okay? And see how that's trying to close on the right there as we speak? See, that's almost a 4-tick bar, but not quite. Okay, that'll help you out quite a bit right there. Because I've trained my eye to see those candles, and I can definitely tell you which one closes up and which one closes down. But you got to train your eye to see them. Okay, but the open, high, low, close will definitely help. All right, I hope this helped everybody. Thanks. And if you got that trade that was called this morning, that was called in real time. And that was a monster. All right, thanks again.